Norman Taylor got it right this week.
Yeah, right.
Oh, everybody! Wasn't that great? We got gifts, and we have another gift in your bulletin that you can see, you have it to take home with you, because I'm going to read it at the end of this talk. So I decided to change the name of the talk because I wanted to stretch out the Deck the Halls, a little theme that we've had for the month, just a little bit longer. And so what we've been talking about is decking the halls of our hearts and decking them with peace, with love, with grace. And today we're going to talk about peace, power, and grace. So Sarkis's reading was perfect, and he didn't even know that I changed the talk. But Spirit knew, God knew, so orchestrated today. So you're here by divine invitation. So today we're going to talk about the important task of decking the halls of our hearts and our minds with what really matters at this time of year, and really all of the time of year, but this time of year because things come up this time of year. It stirs up memories, good, bad, all kinds of memories. But we're going to take it into the year, and we're going to remember the peace and the power and the grace of God that is within each and every one of us. And I have a little confession. You know, the holidays are over. Sometimes my eyes are a little bit bigger than my stomach. So, anyone else? Everything looks so good, especially those homemade cookies and cakes I've been getting. Oh, gosh. But anyway, it kind of went in with this talk because the idea of talking about God's peace and power and grace all within this short period of time was a little bit more than time will allot. But we're going to get what we can in here. We'll spend a little time talking about peace, a little time talking about power, and a little bit more talking about the grace of God, because with the grace of God, peace and power, we're receiving it all of the time. So what I would say briefly about peace this morning is something that I found. I found this beautiful, you go online, you can find just about anything, a beautiful poem written by a Korean spiritualist, which is a little different from what we're used to. So he used this poem at the opening ceremony of the Millennium World Peace Summit of religious and spiritual leaders in the United Nations in the year 2000. So the prayer is not in the form of what we're used to. It's not a poem, it's a prayer. So it's not in that spiritual mind treatment form, but I think it's really beautiful. And actually, as Veronica Parker leads our World Peace Healing Meditation, I'm going to send this to her. Maybe she can fit this in again too, because it really is so applicable to our lives, and particularly right now with all the chaos going on in our lives. So let me read it to you. He wrote this. Oh, his name. Let me give you his name. Where is it? It's a Korean name, of course. Il-chi Lee. Il-chi Lee is his name. He wrote this: I offer the prayer of peace, not to the Christian God, not to the Buddhist God, nor to the Islamic God, nor to the Jewish God, but to the God of all humanity. For the peace that we wish for is not a Christian peace. It's not a Buddhist peace, nor an Islamic peace, nor a Jewish peace, but a human peace for all of us. I offer this prayer of peace to the God that lives within all of us, that fills us with happiness and joy, that makes us whole. And help us understand life as an expression of love for all human beings. For no religion can be better than any other religion. For no truth can be truer than any other truth. For no nation can be bigger than the earth itself. Help us all go beyond our small limits and realize that we are one, that we are all from the earth, that we are all earth people. Love that. We are all earth people. Before we are Indians, Koreans, or Americans, God made the earth. We humans have to make it prosper by realizing that we are of the earth and not of any nation, race, or religion, by knowing that we are truly one in our spiritual heritage. Now let us apologize to all humanity for the hurt that religions have caused, so that we can heal the hurt. Let us now promise to one another to go beyond egotism and competition and to come together as one in God. I offer this prayer of peace to you, the Almighty, to help us find you within all of us, so that we may stand proudly one day before you as one humanity. I offer this prayer of peace with all my fellow earth people for a lasting peace on earth. Isn't that beautiful? I thought that was really lovely. And that lasting peace on earth, that can only happen as there is peace within the hearts of each and every one of us, as we stand in that place of peace, as we express peace in our language, in our emotions, in our hearts, our very hearts, the peace of God that is within us. As we express it, we then see it. We then experience it. And we spread that peace by being the peace to everyone we come in contact with. So just notice, if you will, how you are speaking to other people or what you're thinking about others. Just notice that and just reframe it. Lei Su reminds us that if there is to be peace in the world, there must be peace in the nations. If there is to be peace in the nations, there must be peace in the cities. If there is to be peace in the cities, there must be peace between neighbors. If there is to be peace between neighbors, there must be peace at home. If there is to be peace in the home, there must be peace in the heart. We truly must be the peace in our hearts. And sometimes that can be challenging, I know, especially in our homes, when people know how to push all of our little wound buttons, our little human buttons. But to go back and just take a breath. It's always with the breath. And be the peace. Be the peace. Ernest Holmes wrote in his book, Your Invisible Power, peace is at the center of your own soul. It is the very being, that's a capital B in being, of your being. This peace, which is at the center of your being, has never been disturbed. Important to remember that. It has never been afraid. How then shall you use this great gift, which nestles at the very center of your being? You ought to use it, he writes, consciously. You ought to speak the word of peace wherever discord appears. You must know that peace stills the tempest. You must know that your peace has all the power because it is the peace of God within you. That is what it is. That is one of those intangible qualities of God itself that we cannot harm, delay, destroy, hamper, tamper with in any way. That peace is part of our eternality, as Eliot was explaining. Our eternality, our immortal soul that goes on forever. So that peace is within us. What might it look like for you as you enter into this time? Before we move into our new year, if you spoke the word of peace wherever discord seems to appear. It's a good practice, and it is a practice. What if you were to be that person during this holiday season? When we are that person of peace, when we are that person of peace, we will absolutely be the peace. And this peace has all the power because it is the peace of God expressing within you. The peace of God expressing within you. And then we move into the power for good. We talk about the power. There is a powerful good in this universe, and we can use it. And that is a famous quote from Ernest Holmes. There is he used to have a radio show in the 40s, early 50s, and he would always start it out with that. There is a power for good in the universe, and we can use it. So I tweaked it just a little bit to say, there is a power for good within us, and it is ready to express as us. But we must allow it out. We must, first of all, we've got to get in contact with it. We've got to know about this love, this peace, this power. That is part of who we are. It is the truth of who we are, the absolute truth, the absolute truth. So we must allow it out through our thinking, through our feelings, through our attitudes, our beliefs, our values, our actions, and our words. When you think and see and feel yourself to be a powerful man or woman, you do not make yourself this, but it's your belief. It's your belief that allows this to come through. It releases that innate potentiality within all of us. We are all powerful manifestors of our lives. And it's time we step into our power and realize that we're not victims unless we believe we are. We are powerful if we believe we are. It's about our belief. Thinking and feeling in this way does not change anything, but it does one extremely significant thing. It attunes you. It attunes you to the power and presence and love of God, and I think that's pretty important. That is the most empowering realization and belief you could ever hold. In Science of Mind, again, Holmes writes, in our ignorance of truth, we have misused the highest power we possess. And so great is this power, so complete is our freedom in it, so absolute the domain of law through it, that the misuse of this power has brought upon us the very conditions from which we suffer. We are bound because we are free first. We always have freedom. Remember that. The power which appears, he writes, to bind us is the only power in the universe which can free us. You get that? Yes. That power can free us. Yes. But if we don't believe it can, we will remain victims. This is why Jesus summed up his whole philosophy in one single statement, Holmes writes. It is done to you as you believe. One of the greatest statements that's ever been uttered. What you believe is what you are manifesting. Let me finish Holmes. The great teacher, he writes, talking about Jesus, looked so deeply into nature that she revealed her fundamental simplicity to him. And so we suffer not because suffering is imposed upon us, but because we are ignorant of our true nature. The thing then works for us by working through us and is us always. It cannot work for us in any other way. It spreads itself over the whole universe and shouts to us from every angle. But it can become power to us only when we recognize it as power. We cannot recognize that it is while we are believing that it is not. So that then goes into that lack and limitation thinking that we might hold sometimes in our lives, where we think it is not, but really it is all present within us, in this moment, right here, right now. So in this holiday season, which we're still a part of, do you align with this power of the all good that lives and breathes and has its being as you? Perhaps we can start by believing in God's grace. God's grace, the divine givingness of this infinite power. So New Thought teacher Eric Butterworth, and as Elliot so nicely had put it, we've, of course, in Science of Mind, we tie all of these different New Thought writers together because they're all saying the same thing. There is only one truth, spoken differently, but there is only one truth. God is love. God is peace. God is power. God is the only creative force that exists. And we use this. We use this. So Eric Butterworth once said this: "It is true that as man thinketh, so is he. And as ye sow, so do ye reap. Yet God's desire in you to express perfectly through you and as you is so great that you never completely reap the harvest of error, and you always reap more than you sow of good. This quite simply is grace." This is grace. And Holmes, in the glossary in the back of our Science of Mind textbook, there's a glossary which has a wealth of information in it. It's got a description of all of these terms. So under grace, this is what Holmes wrote: "Grace is the givingness of spirit to its creation. Grace is, but we need to recognize it. It is not something God imposed upon us, but is the logical result of the correct acceptance of life and of correct relationship to the Spirit. We are saved by grace to the extent that we believe in, accept, and seek to embody the law of good." God's grace is like a vast ocean. It's limitless, and it is forever pouring upon us, but we cannot accept it if we are not in alignment with this truth of God, that this divine love is for us, for all of us, not just for a certain few, but for all of us. If we but open up to it, if we but recognize it. And it is an ongoing experience, because the flow of life is forever, it's fluid, so it's forever moving. Think of the ocean then. It's forever moving because it's fluid. And the more connected that we are to it, the more in alignment with the divine presence we are, and the more of that flow of grace takes over our life. And things just seem to flow. I wrote, of course, on my Facebook page, one of my little things. What did I write? Oh, I wrote, yes, because I took pictures of the holidays. And I wrote, you know, that I am something. I'll paraphrase myself. Okay? I can do that, right? I can do anything I want. I'm in front of a microphone. Okay. So to paraphrase it is, every Christmas, it's like this holiday that seems to change on how and who is present, how it's celebrated physically. But what I have learned to do is to be open and to be receptive to however it looks. Before it used to be like, you know, I got to get a certain amount of gifts. I got to make sure this is this way and this is that way, and these people have to be here, and it has to look like this. I stopped doing that, because as we're going to be doing the work, I know we have 4 of us are going to be doing the Byron Katie, the work, so we're going to be bringing it to you. The suffering is in the thought. And so the minute I released that thought of how it's supposed to look, the more I could enjoy Christmas in whatever form it showed up. Whatever form it showed up. And so then I have peace, you see? I'm not in the suffering any longer. It's our belief, the way we think things should be and look. So in God's grace, there is always enough. There is always more than enough. And if we are here today, which obviously you are, you have what you need. And I go back to this a lot, especially when I'm dealing with any kind of lack and limitation that might come up, is in this moment, I have all I need. So this is the only moment that is of any importance to any of us. In this moment now. In another moment, as I've said before, you get the phone call, you get the text, you get your whole life gets changed upside down, in and out. You get the diagnosis, you get all kinds of, you lose the job you didn't know you were going to lose. You just don't know. So this moment, right here, right now, we have all that we need. So when we start living our lives and noticing what we have rather than what we don't have, it changes everything. Because all of our challenges stem from us not thinking we have enough, not thinking we have enough money, enough love, enough time, enough attention in our lives. That's the not enough thinking. And if we're in that, we're suffering. We are suffering. And some of you may have a not enough challenge in your lives right now. So we begin this whole new year then. Make it part of your intention that you're going to notice and be grateful. That gratitude is the vibration of abundance. So just make sure that you start noticing and being grateful for things as they show up in your life. Smallest thing, the biggest thing. It matters not. It's the vibration of Thanksgiving. So you bring Thanksgiving into every holiday. You bring Thanksgiving into your life. It changes everything. It truly does. There's more than enough love. There's more than enough kindness and compassion. In God's grace, we will always have more than enough. That's the beauty of it. So God's peace, power, and grace are in the midst of whatever situation we may find ourselves in. There is no place, we know this, but God is not omnipresent. God is in all places at the same time. So there is an intimate message from God to you, and in it, the peace, power, grace of God are promised to you. So within your bulletins, I promised you had another gift. Today's the day of still giving gifts. Sydney gave us a gift, and I decided to include this in there. You don't have to read it now, but I'm going to invite you to close your eyes as I read it, but just to know that every line comes from a different verse in the Bible. So it's all quoted in the handout. But as without that interruption of where it came from, I'm just going to read this to you. So just breathe this in. Take a breath. You may not know me, but I know everything about you. Even the very hairs on your head are numbered, for you were made in my image. In me you live and move and have your being. I knew you even before you were conceived. I chose you when I planned creation. You were not a mistake, for all your days are written in my book. I knit you together in the mother's womb and brought you forth on the day you were born. I have been misrepresented by those who don't know me. I am not distant and angry, but I am the complete expression of love. It is my desire to lavish my love on you simply because you are a child and I am your father. I offer you more than your earthly father ever could, for I am the perfect father. Every good gift that you receive comes from my hand, for I am your provider and I meet all your needs. My plan for your future has always been filled with hope because I love you with an everlasting love. My thoughts toward you are countless as the sand on the seashore, and I rejoice over you with singing. I will never stop doing good to you, for you are my treasure. I desire to establish you with all my heart and all my soul, and I want to show you great and marvelous things. If you seek me with all your heart, you will find me. Delight in me, and I will give you the desires of your heart. For it is I who gave you those desires. I am able to do more for you than you could possibly imagine. For I am your greatest encourager. I am the Father who comforts you in all your troubles. When you are heartbroken, I am close to you. As a shepherd carries a lamb, I carry you close to my heart. And so that is All of those lines come from different verses in the Bible. And I just think it's something we can hang up somewhere and just remember that we are created from the Beloved. And the Beloved loves us unconditionally. So, wow, what a great way to start the new year. Just knowing that God loves you exactly the way you are. And so it is.
And so it is.